Garage pays tribute to former Premier Lofa. Kigoma Port maritime dominance imminent. Good evening, I am Nasa Kingo. Just a reminder, you can also follow us live via our YouTube channel, TBC Online, and also get all the latest news through our Instagram, Facebook, and X pages at TBC Online. The people of the Monduli district in the Arusha region and the neighboring regions have today paid tribute to the body of the former Prime Minister Edward Lofa at his home in the village of Ngarash, where his body will be buried tomorrow in a state funeral, which will be led by President Samia Suluhu Hassan. Here is a report prepared by Joseph Bura and read by Faidan Gaga.
It is a large crowd of people from various places paying their last respects to their loved one. Their faces are sad, and here's a word of encouragement from Father Bishop Godson Abel Molil from the North Center Diocese of Arusha, who leads the special service.
Tumkumbuke Ayubu, mtu wa Mungu.
Let us all remember what Job said when he lost everything, his possessions, and all his children. Naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I will depart. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. May the name of the Lord be praised.
Jina la Bwana libarikiwe.
The former Prime Minister Mizengo Pinda calls on Tanzanians to honor his legacy by mentioning all the good things that the late former Prime Minister Edward Lofa did during his lifetime.
Lakini moja ambalo nalikumbuka sana.
One thing that I remember is that he was a leader who took charge of the changes he wishes to see.
Na katika hilo alikuwa hana utani.
Various leaders present described the late Lofa as a leader who was at the forefront to ensure the implementation of various decisions made to reach the intended results. There are many things that have been implemented by the late Edward Lofa in the government. His legacy truly influences us in one way or another.
Kituo cha kimataifa cha mikutano kilipoanzishwa.
The Arusha International Conference Center was primarily just a conference center, but Edward Lofa made sure an element of tourism was added, such that the guests who come to the conference can go to see the tourist attractions, so that conference tourism can increase revenue to the economy.
We also spoke to the former Member of Parliament for Hanang constituency, Mary Nago.
He was such a working hard, and he has been a minister, and he has contributed a lot to our country, and later he was a prime minister, and therefore it is really sad. It is a sorrowful news. I am so sad, I feel so sad, and I'm sure most of the Tanzanians have lost a great leader.
According to the funeral timetable, what next is for the family members and national leaders led by President of the United Republic of Tanzania, Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, to pay the last respects, followed by a burial mass ceremony which will take place at Ngarash, Monduli.
Meanwhile, President of the United Republic of Tanzania, Samia Suluhu Hassan, has already arrived in the Arusha region this evening, and she has received a report on the funeral arrangement. The investment of 20.3 billion Tanzanian shillings done by the government to improve the Kigoma Bay Port in the Kigoma region is expected to draw more vessels and cargo from neighboring East African nations, especially those around Lake Victoria, particularly Kenya and Uganda. The statement has been made by the Kigoma Bay Port officer, Rashid Mangelile, in the region of Kagera, while speaking with the journalists on the progress of the port improvement project. Rehema Sababili is there and has prepared the following report.
The investment has reached 40%, and it includes improving the passenger building, water depth, a car parking area, a new dock area to save ships with railway equipment, and a pier to save live animal cargo. The Kigoma Bay Port officer Rashid Mangirile says upon completion of the project in July this year, the port will contribute to the Kagera region's economy, becoming more competitive due to where it's located near the border to neighboring countries.
When our project comes to an end, we will continue to attract customers who are on the borders of Tanzania, like Kenya and Uganda, to continue using our port, and to the countries on the border of Tanzania, like Rwanda and Burundi. Their cargo will pass through the port of Kigoma because we will have a big ship called MV Mwanza, which will be able to carry passengers and cargo not less than 400 tons. When it is completed, it will be the main gateway to the economic improvement in Bukoba region.
In addition, the port officer says the cargo handled in the port is currently between 7,000 to 10,000 tons, heading to Mwanza and the islands located in Lake Victoria, where the number of passengers transported per year is between 80,000 to 100,000 per year. In his remarks, resident engineer of the project, Emmanuel Magori, said that the progress of the construction of the project has reached 40%, noting that after the completion in early July, the port will be able to save 4 ships at the same time.
Infrastructures of the port, the existing port, they are totally worn out. And now what we are doing is to rehabilitate them and make them modern. So the people around this area, what they expect is after the rehabilitation of these infrastructures, then they can get new structures. And from there, we know that transportation of the passengers and the cargoes, everything will be in a good shape because the port will not look like how it is, how you can see it now. So after all this improvement, the port will be in a modern shape.
The Kigoma Bay Port Improvements Project has created employment to approximately 100 locals. Reporting from Kigoma here in Kagera region, Rahima Sbabili, TBC News.
Good news there from the Kagera region. The investment made by the government in collaboration with various stakeholders in the health sector has enabled an increase in the number of children who have been treated and recovered from cancer at the Bugando Regional Referral Hospital in the Mwanza region, from 20% in 2008 to 60% last year. Specialist in cancer and hematological diseases in the hospital, Dr. Hiro Mina Kashaigili, says that children have been unable to get full treatment due to the challenge of cost as well as lack of modern cancer screening equipment. Here's a report by Moses Matthew and read by Kanki Mwaigomole.
The Lake region is said to lead in the country for having a large number of children with cancer, where 350 children with cancer had been treated at a Bugando Referral Hospital in Mwanza region last year, compared to 50 children who had been treated in 2008.
The number of patients has now increased. We currently have up to 350 patients. Half of the 350 patients usually come to the hospital in the initial stages of the disease, while the other half usually comes in the later stages. 60% of the patients recover completely.
Suitable equipment as well as treatment costs are reported to be crucial for the cancer treatment.
The cheapest test here is 150,000 shillings. The patients usually require multiple tests. Therefore, a patient may require 1 million to conduct tests. The financial challenges of a patient usually causes them to go back home and never come back.
New hopes are emerging following the presence of improved medical equipment for cancer diagnosis.
You need special equipment to determine the specific type of cancer in order for the specialist to administer the right medication.
The challenges have been identified in Mwanza region during the celebrations to mark International Childhood Cancer Day.
My child is doing well now. He just doesn't have a health insurance that covers all the aspects of the medication.
At first, the medical insurance was quite affordable. It was 50,400 shillings. But due to the high cost of medication to cancer diseases, it cannot be covered by the insurance.
The chairman of Desk and Chair Institute, Sibtain Megji, was the guest of honor at the celebrations.
Many patients do not their treatment because of the high cost. Currently, cancer medicine for children is free. More assistance is needed for the availability of these medication.
Member of Parliament for Singida West, Elbareki Kingo, who was one of the international observers to the just and general elections in Indonesia as a Tanzanian Parliament Special Representative, thanks President Joko Widodo for the paving a way for the country's general elections. Giving concluding remarks on behalf of the foreign election observers, Kingo insists Indonesia stands as an example of a progressive democratic country where a majority of the registered voters participated in the election, which has been termed as peaceful, free and fair.
Tanzania also is a democratic country, but what I have seen here in Indonesia, really, as I said before, we have a lesson to learn from Indonesia. We have a lot of good things to learn from Indonesia. And if God wishes, my electoral commission from Tanzania, I will try to convince so that we may have a memorandum with the electoral commission of Indonesia so that we can exchange views and all expertise as far as general election is concerned. Lastly, but not least, I would like also to extend my gratitude and congratulations to the outgoing president.
The Member of Parliament for Singida West, Elbareki Kingo, was in Indonesia as an international observer representing the Speaker of the Tanzanian Parliament, who is also the President of the Interparliamentary Union, Dr. Tulia Ackson. The Ambassador of Poland to Tanzania, Chris Buzowski, says that inauguration of the Improving Emergency Care in Tanzania project will help to save lives of Tanzanians who suffer from road accidents and natural disasters. Ambassador Buzowski has given the remarks in Dar es Salaam immediately after the inauguration of the project, which is supported by the Polish government in collaboration with other development stakeholders through the Aga Khan Hospital, aiming to provide training to emergency service providers in Tanzania. Emmanuel Samuel has more details.
Several days have passed since the president of Poland, Andrzej Duda, made his visit to Tanzania and showed commitment of his government to continue cooperating with Tanzania government in various fields, including the health sector. Today, the Polish ambassador to Tanzania, Buzowski, joins other health stakeholders to witness the launch of the project of improving emergency care in Tanzania at Upanga in Dar es Salaam region, and give his message.
I would like to thank and express my gratitude to the government of Tanzania for helping us, allowing us, and facilitating the implementation of the project, both here in Dar es Salaam and also across the country. I've heard today an extension and geographical expansion is planned for the future. We are fully and wholeheartedly supporting this idea, and we are ready to work with our partner, development cooperation priority partner Tanzania, to save even more lives.
Coordinator of the project from the Aga Khan Hospital, Dr. Hussein Manji, explains total cost of the project, while some of the beneficiaries expresses their delight for the launch of the project.
The value of this entire project is $750,000 US dollars, which is equivalent to around 1.9 billion shillings. And this project has four main components for this first phase. We started in September 2022, and this first phase is scheduled to end in December 2024. But we have the hope of an extension for another 3 years so that we can build more. The main beneficiaries, one of our main components is trainings. That's the first step. We do trainings, both instructor trainings as well as provider trainings.
The inauguration of the project goes hand in hand with the handover of various equipment for the provision of emergency services in the areas. Reporting from Dar es Salaam, Emmanuel Samuel, TBC News.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel Samuel, for that report. President Samia Suluhu Hassan is expected to grace the Peace and Reconciliation Celebrations Day planned to be held in Ikela District, Bay Region on 6th of March with a slogan towards local government elections, reconciliation and peace are key. Here's a report prepared by Adolfo Mbata and read by Mario Mobero.
The Mbeya Regional Commissioner Juma Homera with the leaders of the Reconciliation Committee who have met here with journalists with the aim of launching the preparations for the celebrations of the Reconciliation and Peace Day, which will be held in the Ikela District in the Mbeya region on the 6th of March this year.
The celebration of Reconciliation and Peace Day is planned to be held in Mbeya region, where its peak will be on March the 6th, 2024, where the official guest will be President Samia Suluhu Hassan.
Here are the leaders elaborate other activities that will be accompanied with the celebrations, including blood donation and tree planting exercise.
There will be blood donation exercise. I encourage people to come forward in large numbers to donate blood so that we have enough blood banks in Mbeya region. And there will also be an exercise of planting trees in water sources. This will help to conserve our environment. If we stand together, nothing shall go wrong. We are in the front line in financing projects that are friendlier to the environment and projects that will preserve our environment's safety.
The Reconciliation Committee is expected to donate approximately 1,000 blood units.
Commissioner for External Finance, Richard Bade, says the government has set guidelines which are crucial in integrating climate change adaptation issues in respective sectoral policies, plans and programs, and says the fighting against climate change requires collaborative effort from both the private and public sectors. Emmanuel Samuel is here again with a full report.
Speaking in Dar es Salaam during the Sustainable Finance Forum hosted by the Standard Chartered Bank, the Commissioner of External Finance at the Ministry of Finance, Commissioner Richard Bade, calls upon the financial institutions to play their roles in the fight against climate change.
We know the climate change now. If you ask any Tanzanian in the past few years, would have been just a myth. But now they see what happened just in the recent past is very devastating, and it happened across the country. So it's not one area only, but it's happened across the country with a very diverse degree of intensity, and it seems like the intensity increased year on year. And now people have started to accept that the actions they're doing also contribute to these devastating events.
The Director General of Tanzania Railway Corporation, TRC, Mr. Masanja Kadogosa, says the partnership with the Standard Chartered Bank has helped the TRC to secure $1.6 billion for funding the constructions of standard gauge railway.
You have to make sure that whatever you are doing, it has to minimize the impact to the environment, and that's what we've been doing. We have a good team, but not just for the environment, but also for the social.
On the other hand, the Standard Chartered Bank head of commercial and corporate banking, Jerry Boateng, says they are dedicated to sustainable finance team that brings together experience and expertise in managing the environment and making solutions to maximize the positive impact potential for financing.
We understand many of our clients in our market are at the early phases of evaluating their exposure to climate change, or they will transition their business operations. They are seeking advice on best practice how to establish their framework and how to raise capital needed to fund their transition. But at Standard Chartered Bank, we are leveraging our financial expertise, innovative thinking, full suite of sustainable finance solutions to meet clients where they are and support them on their sustainability journey.
The Standard Chartered Bank is synchronizing sustainable finance and partnerships aiming at providing $300 billion in sustainable finance by 2030. Emmanuel Samuel, TBC News.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel Samuel. Now from the finance sector, we move to the telecommunications sector, where the Director of Communication and Relations of Vodacom, Zuena Farah, says they will continue to collaborate with Huawei Mobile Phone Company to create economic empowerment and training opportunities for young entrepreneurs so as to access digital opportunities.
Huawei pamoja na Vodacom Tanzania.
Huawei, together with Vodacom Tanzania, have collaborated to empower small entrepreneurs along with emerging startup companies as part of increasing their knowledge on technological issues. We have three main pillars, which are health, education, and economic empowerment. And all these pillars are used to support development in the society, especially for young people.
This MU is a great pleasure for us to gather here to reach the cooperation of corporate social responsibility strategic partnership between Huawei Tanzania and Vodacom Tanzania. We are here around 18 years, since 2006, and our cooperation starts from, even if we see from the group, even further than 16 years. And we have done 16 years CSR in Tanzania.
That was the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding between Vodacom and Huawei, whereby MOU will involve various social activities, including provision of digital knowledge to Tanzanians. And the project will start with 10 regions, which will be used as a case study. Now, before we conclude the news, the local news, let's take a look now at the exchange rates. Don't miss TBC News every weekday to know all the latest in exchange rates. Now, stay tuned for all the latest in international news. And here is international news as compiled by Ramadan Impenda and read by Bakari Msuya.
Senegal's top election authority has rejected the government postponement of presidential elections scheduled for February 25th and rescheduling for December, ruling that the moves were constitutional. According to a judgment approved by 7 members of the Senegal Constitutional Council, the decree signed by President Macky Sall that postponed the election has been cancelled and invites the competent authorities to hold it as soon as possible. The judgment said the National Assembly decisions of February 5th to reschedule the vote for December 15th also was contrary to the Constitution. The postponement had thrown the country into political turmoil, and it was not immediately clear if the election would go forward as initially scheduled or whether more time would be needed to allow for political campaigns. President Sall did not immediately make any public comments in reaction to the ruling. South Africa has said that 2 of its soldiers had been killed and 3 were injured after a mortar bomb landed in their base in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, the first fatality since it deployed troops there. The South African National Defense Force said the injured were taken to the nearest hospital in Goma for medical attention. The troops are part of a regional force helping DR Congo military as it confronts a series of armed groups. The attack has led to South African opposition politicians calling for the withdrawal of troops from DR Congo. The M23 is the most prominent group which has taken up positions on the major roads leading into Goma, the main city in the east of DR Congo. A prominent Zimbabwean opposition politician, Job Sikala, has been fined and given a 9-month suspended prison sentence after being found guilty of publishing lies on social media. Harare magistrate Feresi Chakanyuka handed the sentence to the former Zengeza West legislator on condition that he does not commit a similar offense. Sikala, who was last week convicted of communicating lies, was also $500 to be paid by 4th March 2024, failing which he shall spend 2 months in prison. In response to the verdict, Sikala's lawyer Harrison Nkomo said they are going to file their appeal as a registration of the disapproval of the judgment, that they do not agree with it. And Israel's incursion into Khan Yunis Nasser Hospital has led to the death of at least 4 patients after electricity was severed and oxygen supplies cut. The Israel Defense Forces chief spokesman Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari has said it launched an accurate and limited mission at Nasser Hospital, adding it had intelligence that Hamas had held hostages there. Earlier on Friday, the Gazan Health Ministry said that the hospital's power supply had cut out, endangering the lives of 6 adult patients in intensive care and 3 infants in incubators who were dependent on oxygen. Nasser had been the largest functioning hospital left in Gaza. Meanwhile, the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said on Friday that Israel will not be pressured into accepting a Palestinian state. Prime Minister Netanyahu said that in a statement published following a call with U.S. President Joe Biden, insisting that Israel will continue to oppose unilateral recognition of a Palestinian state.
That is international news. Now, sports news up next. And in sports news, Youngers head coach Miguel Gamondi says all important tactical preparations for their game against KMC have been completed. He insists, despite playing against a tough opponent, he believes they will have a chance to take all 3 points. While on the other hand, the KMC head coach Abdi Hamid Moalini says that his team is ready to play with a big team and discipline will be their greatest weapon.
It's a very good team. I respect. I like the way they play, they building. They are a fair play team, and of course we want to win. But I not expected to win, score goals. Even this first game wasn't easy for us. We opened in the first half.
In Tanzania, and we're anticipating a good game of football. Both teams try to play football, or at least the way we see the game. But it's a matter of who controls their mistakes tomorrow. You know, we have to be aware. We have to be exceptionally well prepared defensively, control their movements, and we have to play our game once we have the ball, and we're very dangerous.
The Director General of Tanzania Broadcasting Corporation, TBC, Dr. Yoba Rioba, says TBC will continue to collaborate with the community in various ways to ensure its customers get the value they deserve. He made the remarks today while handing over a car to the winner of the TBC's AFCON Kipute Msereko campaign. Dr. Rioba elaborates that the corporation will continue to nurture talents to continue to entice more viewers and listeners. The winner of the campaign expresses how delighted she is after receiving the vehicle. Sports news now. Before we conclude the news bulletin for tonight, let's take a look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours. Now, due to some technical difficulties, we're not going to have the weather for the next 24 hours, but I'm sure you'll be able to get them if you follow our social media platforms. And that marks the end of the news bulletin for tonight. Don't miss our next bulletin in Kiswahili at 11 p.m. On behalf of the whole team, I am Nasa Kingo. Good night.